What's going on, everyone? The Arid Lord is back. Welcome to another Season 10 vlog for The Walking Dead. Very excited to do some more content for you guys. And this one is actually reviewing a new set of footage. This is a yearly tradition, along with everything else we get in The Walking Dead. The fall 8 episodes, the spring 8 episodes, the trailer during San Diego Comic-Con in July. Of all the traditions, there is another tradition that we have where Talking Dead almost does like a... If you want to think about it in like terms of football in the NFL, it's kind of like the preseason to like the regular season of the show. So they have like this They have a regular-sized episode of Talking Dead with Chris Hardwick and a few cast members. And at the very end, they hang a carrot dangling over your head where they show you a preview clip of the forthcoming season. And so they did the same thing with the 10th season. And I watched it. It came out a few days ago on Sunday. I meant to get this vlog out earlier, just had some things come up that kind of delayed it. But there wasn't too much, but there is one direction that I can kind of see them taking, because usually these preview clips give us an idea of some of the main themes that are going to be explored in the season. This is Daryl and Carol talking at Oceanside, which is nice. It seems from all of the photos from the trailer with those phalanx shields, the mission that Jerry and Ezekiel are on the boat, on the beach from the trailer. It seems like Oceanside is going to be utilized a shit ton, which is great because it was really left in the dust for 3 seasons, 7, 8, and 9. It was introduced when Tara discovered them, and they only showed up in 2 episodes in Season 7, 2 episodes in Season 8, and I'm pretty sure they didn't show up at all in Season... Well, they had that brief arc where they were taking the saviors and executing them, but they weren't at Oceanside. We dealt with their story, and I always argued that if we had spent more time with Oceanside, maybe saw a flashback when Simon killed all the boys, that maybe we would have had more of an impact with their vengeance against the saviors and some of the stuff with Sydney and Rachel. And, those are really the two. You had the grandma, Naomi, but Sydney and Rachel are the main ones, especially now that Rachel's grown up, so... I'm just, glad finally that they were able to squeeze Oceanside in, and they're using them a lot more. They're taking the stuff from the comic book where Michonne goes out on the sailboat, and I think they're using Carol for some of that stuff. And it seems like Carol just wants to forget. And I remember in an article, Angela Kang said that they were going to do a lot of PTSD stuff with Carol in terms of her trying to deal with the Pike sequence from last season with Henry's death, mainly him. I mean, there's the other characters like Enid and Tara I'm sure she's upset about, but Henry was her adopted kid and was killed in the most brutal fashion possible. A decision I wasn't too happy with at the time because I thought he was taking Carl's storyline, dating Lydia, all sorts of stuff, and it ended up just going nowhere. It'll be interesting to see what Lydia's arc is this season, now that it looks like she's trying to learn the stick stuff, that she has Henry's staff and trying to use it, and how her arc is going to go. But for now, for Carol at least, especially in the trailer, there is a sequence where we almost see Henry's ghost. There's blood around his neck, as if like just before he was decapitated. I do wonder, and this is an answer I would be curious for discussion purposes with you guys. Do you think we'll see a flashback to last season when the Pike sequence occurred, meaning when all of our favorite characters had their heads cut off? Because they showed the moment that they fought back when Sadiq had that flashback when he's telling kind of the eulogy. But we basically just get the assumption that there were too many whisperers, Alpha had just set the whole thing up too well, and that there was absolutely no way they were going to get out of it. It would be pretty brutal, especially to bring all those actors back just to kind of do that. Or maybe they would just do Henry's perspective, maybe like for Carol's purposes, remembering it, she would only remember him, so you don't have to have every cast member back. It would just be him being dismembered. Again, it would be really, really brutal, and I'm not at all like auctioning for it. I'm just thinking, because from the sounds of this sequence, Carol doesn't want any vengeance against Alpha. She just went on this supply run and using like it's almost like this courier system. They've been responding and sending correspondence with Maggie. They bring up Maggie in this clip, and Carol just says that she was just off. She was just off doing her thing, either on the sailboat or something to do with Oceanside. Most likely the sailboat for transportation. And I think it would be for her. It would be cool because she was bottled up at the Kingdom with Ezekiel for a long time, 6 years. So now that she's moved to Alexandria and is now exploring, it's kind of funny because when you're in a relationship, they were in that married relationship with their kid being Henry. Now that all of that's gone, Carol is kind of like almost in single mode again, and she's exploring her ruthless side. She's just exploring. I think she's just exploring, not necessarily her ruthless side, but she's just exploring. And Daryl, being the concerned friend, having known her since the very first season. I mean, these are our two most OG characters. All right, Melissa McBride, Norman Reedus, Daryl, and Carol. They're basically it. Like, other than Rick, who is going to be in the movies, and then Morgan, who is being dragged along in this very, very boring Fear the Walking Dead plot. You'll notice I didn't even review episode 9. Just a bunch of interviews and landmines and just randomness. I was not going to indulge. It would have been a very short video and would have turned into another rant, so I didn't want to go down that route. But anyway, yeah, Daryl's prying a little bit, and Carol's definitely giving the sense, like, she kind of has like this happy-go-lucky, like, oh yeah, I was off on this adventure, and oh, I don't want to deal with those skin freaks ever again, and she's just kind of just shoving it, like, you can tell that it affected her, but she's just disregarding it so easily, like, oh yeah, that happened, I'm just not gonna deal with that. And as the viewer, we know that this wrecked her. I mean, in the finale during the winter storm, you saw just, she's like, I don't want to like go back to that dark place. She ended her relationship with Ezekiel. She was distraught. She showed all the emotion towards that in the last bits of season 9. And so we would expect that to carry over to season 10, but it seems like she's going to mask it, and maybe in her more private moments, maybe in those moments she will display some of these PTSD things. The sequence from the trailer where she sees Henry, some of these things I guarantee will show up. And this is all just foreshadowing, just getting the plot kind of in that, like they're setting it up. It's almost like if you're cooking curry stir fry, and you gotta put the oven on, you get some oil in your pan, seasoning, like they're basically getting the food ready. They're preparing it so that, it comes out hot, sizzling, tasty, just the right amount of spices and flavors. And that's the type of approach. To use that analogy, that's what they're trying to do. I feel like this clip is hinting at that. There's no big reveal in this clip. They never do those reveals anyway. I remember the clip for season 7 was Dwight on Daryl's bike, and Dwight was wearing Daryl's wing jacket. And so at that point, nobody knew who Negan killed. So people were like, oh, did Negan kill Daryl? And Dwight has Daryl. Like, they went to extreme lengths to make you think that it was Daryl. I remember the preview clip, the cloth that Daryl was wearing over to hide his wound, that was on the ground near the bashed skull. I mean, thinking back, man, they really wanted to make you think it was Daryl, and I obviously I wasn't fooled, but yeah, just remembering back to that was pretty funny. So it was a good sequence, but again, it didn't need to really reveal much because, like I said, I got the sense of where they're going with Carol. And I'm excited. For her, I've said that I want some type of interaction with Negan. It's ridiculous that since he was introduced in the end of season 6, season 7, that Carol and Negan have never had a scene together. Because, yeah, I know Carol was at the Kingdom. She was shielded from Negan's wrath because he never went to the Kingdom. But I'm interested in seeing what they do with her interactions. Now that she's living in Alexandria again, and Negan is out of prison in the garden and stuff, as we've seen. They're bound to interact. I mean, there's a sequence where Lydia and Negan interact, which never happens, so we'll have to see where that goes. So yeah, let me know your predictions, and yeah, as always, comment, rate, and subscribe, and we'll just keep counting down the weeks here as we get on. So, all right, guys, thanks. Peace out.